I'm here now with Dr. Rahul Gupta, who's the director of White House Office of National Drug Control Policy. Dr. Gupta, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Looking at some of the administration's efforts to urge schools to carry naloxone, this is something that we've dealt with here in Marion County, Indianapolis area. We've seen overdose rates higher than the national average here. Just how significant might these kinds of initiatives be in cities like Indianapolis, where this has been such a prevalent problem?
Well, they're life-saving. These efforts to house the reversal drug for overdose has never been more important than right now. And primarily the reason for that is the drug supply, such as fentanyl, has become so lethal and so dangerous in so many ways, like fake pills and other ways, that while every life lost is a tragedy, it doesn't have to be that way. And it can't be that way if we make sure that everyone who unknowingly even overdoses from drug like fentanyl has the opportunity to get naloxone to save their life and get the help they need.
What more can the White House, can the administration do to encourage schools to carry naloxone, particularly schools here in Indiana or elsewhere that might be reluctant to do so?
Well, I can start by saying that, from day one, President Biden has been at the forefront of making sure that youth prevention efforts are number one action step that we do when we talk about the opiate crisis. The reason that's important is young people are the future of America, and we have to do everything from investing in prevention to making sure that they are aware. This is the reason why we put out a Real Deal on Fentanyl campaign through social media for young people, and we've got over 1 billion impressions, so that young people are talking to young people about the dangers of going on social media, purchasing what they think is a Xanax or an Adderall pill, and finding out that that may be their last dose ever because it had potentially fatal doses of fentanyl in it. We're also making sure that those resources that are going on to local communities are focused on youth prevention, making sure that naloxone, which is now available, by the way, over the counter, sitting right next to Motrin and Tylenol, is available to everybody, just like a fire extinguisher or a defibrillator device.
Why are we still seeing so much fentanyl around here and around the country?
Well, part of the reason is that we need to understand, and that's exactly what we're doing, the global supply chain of fentanyl. The fact that it is shipped as a precursor chemical from China, converted into fentanyl in Mexico, and then ends up in our communities. This is exactly why President Biden met with President Xi last month and made sure that China was going to be taking actions against its own illegal and illicit parts of the chemical industry. But at the same time, we're working to make sure that our border efforts are most robust. This is the reason that the president has sent supplemental requests to Congress to ask for drug detection technology at the border, Customs Border Protection agents at the border, so we can make sure that the 90% of the fentanyl that comes through our legal ports of entry, we stop that. We stop every bit of fentanyl coming in through having 21st century technology work for the American people.
And I know that's come up in some of the talks about border funding in Congress and what happens next there. Are you concerned if there is a government shutdown, if there's not a funding plan put in place, that could become more problematic, even more problematic at the border than it's been?
Oh, certainly. The fact is today that Congress needs to act and do its job. Reason that is important is, for across administrations, when a lot of these vehicles that are bringing in fentanyl, whether they're personal traffic or cargo vehicles, we only are able to inspect 2 to 17%. The president wants to make sure that every vehicle that comes across into America from our southern border is able to be inspected for drugs. And this is the reason the president has repeatedly, time and again, asked Congress to provide that supplemental funding and provide it in a way that's urgent, so we can make sure that we're doing everything possible to save American lives.
It's going to be an important discussion, no doubt. Dr. Gupta, thanks so much for spending a few minutes with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.